What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to a brand new tutorial. My name is Angelo from Caps on Fire, and in this video today I'm going to be showing you guys how to create a watermark slash mockup for your clients. So before we dive into this video, I need you all to do a couple things for me. First, I need you to press the subscribe button below. That way you will be notified whenever I upload new videos. And then secondly, if you click on the description box, I will have a link posted down there where you can join our Sublimation Facebook group. So within this group, we pretty much cover everything dealing with sublimation that comes to troubleshooting your printers, especially if you have a Workforce 7710 or 7720. I have people showcase their artwork. We pretty much just help people as far as with sublimation and getting a better understanding of sublimation. So you just go ahead and join the group. We have right now, I believe, around 1,500 members, and we are constantly growing. All right. So just click that to join the group. I'll go ahead and accept your request, and you'll be in there. All right. So first thing that we need to do is we need to understand why we are creating a watermark and a mockup. All right. So with the mockup, what we want to do is we want to show our clients what the end product is going to look like before we actually create the product. And the reason we do that is because, one, we don't want to waste any type of materials, and then secondly, we want to give them a chance to see what it's going to look like before we actually do it. Because if they want like certain aspects changed within the image, if you already have it pressed up, you can't change that. So we definitely want to go ahead and do that so we can get all the type of all the editing work out of the way, and then we can agree on a final design to run with. All right. So secondly, the watermark. We want to create the watermark because after we do the mockup and they agree on it, or assumingly agree on it or disagree on it, we don't want them to take our image to somebody else and then have them delete the background and then press it up for them. All right. So to protect your image and to I guess protect your relationship, or not relationship, but protect your image from your client, I highly suggest putting down a watermark on top of your designs. And of course, to protect your design from when you post it up on Instagram or any of these other social links where people can take your artwork. So the very first thing we want to do is we want to download Gimp. Just go to gimp.org and you can download it from there. After that, once you download it, you have a couple of options. You can either completely make your mockup from scratch, or you can go to Etsy and you can download a pre-made blank mockup which you can add your design to. I highly recommend just doing that, as it will only cost you like $1 or like $2. Okay. Once you buy that, you can be able to reuse that same one over and over and over. So for this video, we are going to be using a shirt. So I'll go ahead and drag and drop that image into here right now. Go ahead and find it. Found it. So now I drag and drop it in, and we can press the convert button. We don't have to change anything over here. And here is our image. Okay. Once again, I bought this off of Etsy. All you do is just get on Etsy.com, type in exactly what you're looking for. So if you're looking for a Bella Canvas shirt, just type in Bella Canvas, and then you can type in, sometimes it's the model number as well, which the most common one for Bella Canvas is 3001C. And for sublimation, of course, you have to have 100% polyester, so that limits the shirts that you can use. Personally, I love the Jersey's 21M shirt. If you can, just type it in on Etsy, Jersey's 21M mockup. If nothing comes up, you can just type in a regular, white shirt mockup or anything like that, and just choose something that closely resembles your Jersey's 21M shirt or whatever shirt that you will be pressing. Okay. But please make sure it closely resembles that shirt. All right. Please be sure to look out for unisex and women's fitted shirts as well. As you can tell, this is a unisex, and I can tell that just by looking at the sleeves. because they're loosely fitted. They're not, you know, short. If they were short and tucked in a little bit, they would be considered a women's fitted shirt. But as I said, Josie's 21M, that is a unisex shirt. So I made sure I found a unisex shirt to match. So once we drag and drop our image in here, after that, we want to go ahead and drag and drop our design on top of this. And I'll be putting in here a design that I'm doing in another tutorial as well. I'll post a link down below on how to make this design as well. Drag and drop it in here. And here is our design. So now just hold the control key, pull your mouse wheel back to zoom out. Come over here to your toolbox area and select the scale tool. Once you have that selected, just click on your image and you'll be able to shrink it down or make it bigger, or pretty much make it the right size that you want for your image. All right, these handles right here on the sides will make it bigger or smaller. All right, and then this one in the middle, you can move your image around. I like to make it about, let's say about right there. Let's zoom in a little bit, hold control, move your mouse wheel forward, and zoom out. Also, please make sure this box right here is linked together. If this is not linked together, that means your image will not be proportionate. So if I was to unlink this and then drag our box, it'll make it to a weird shape, which is not proportionate to what we originally made our design. All right, so just hold Control Z to undo that. Select this box again to link it back together. Now it's proportionate again. And another thing I like to do is change the image opacity just so I can see the background and see everything behind it. You know, so if this was like different layers or things like that, I would recommend changing the opacity, or you can just leave it as it is at a certain one and just work with that with all your images, depending on what you're doing. I want to make it slightly bigger. I think that's good. That's nice and centered as well. So now we'll press scale. And it will scale our picture. All right. Right before we clicked scale, I meant to tell you guys something. I'm gonna go ahead and tell you now. Whenever you're scaling an image, if you're making it bigger or making it smaller, it will change the quality of your image. Now, how much it will change that quality by will be determined right here, your interpolation. All right. To have the lowest change in your quality as possible, you are going to want to select low halo. All right, so just make sure you have low halo selected, and that way it will reduce the quality of your, well, not reduce the quality, it will lessen the amount that your quality of your image will change. All right, so now once we have that done, you can hold the control key to zoom out. And now we want to add our watermark. So to do that, we're going to come up here to the text tool, select the text tool. Our font, I like to use the Afternight font. And another thing I recommend, whatever font you're going to use for your watermark, I recommend just sticking with that. But I'll also be showing you all how to save your watermark, so that way you can drag and drop it instead of having to recreate a watermark every single time. All right, so now Afternight, that's selected. Size, we'll keep it at 75 pixels. Color, black. Justify, we can put justify in the middle. We want to align in the middle. And let's go ahead and make our box, and then we can start typing. When you initially make your box to start typing your text, it's not going to show a layer over here until you start physically typing. So let's type in caps on fire. And as you can see, it's really small. It's right there in the middle. And we can highlight it just by clicking down, holding our right mouse button and dragging over. It'll make a selection around it with those yellow boxes. And then we can increase the size until we have the size that we desire. So for this one, I like that size. And I suggest adjusting your size in pixels, okay? Do not adjust your size in inches, because if you adjust it in inches, you won't have as great of a as great control over sizing it up as you would with pixels. So let's say if I do select inches and press up one time, it just jumped up way too high for me. All right, so that's why I like to have pixels selected so I can adjust it more accurately according to what I would like. All right, so now once we have that done, we can come over here to the move tool, make sure Caps on Fire is selected, and when we initially click, it'll make a box around what you are about to move. Okay, so if you move it over here, move it over wherever you would like, but if you don't click right on it, like let's say you click right here in between the letters, it may select that background. Okay, so anytime you're gonna move your text, be sure to click on where your actual text is at. All right, so for instance, right there on the black, we can move it. So after that, we want to reduce the size of this yellow box down to the text. And to do that, you have a couple of ways, okay? You can either click back on the text tool, click back into the box, and you have these boxes right here along the sides, okay? You can just click this box or any one of those boxes and it will automatically reduce the size of it. You can click back out somewhere else outside of that layer, and then it reduces the size of that yellow box. Or, so Control Z to undo that. Or we can make sure we are in the layer also. We can go to layer and we can go down to crop to content, which will reduce the size of the yellow box as well, back down to the size of the actual text. All right, but when we do that, it'll say, hey, if we ever want to edit it and we go to click on it, it'll say, hey, you're about to change some stuff. You're gonna want to edit it, press edit, and then it'll make our box back that size. Okay, so I highly recommend just clicking on one of these boxes at the top, bottom, left, or right to make that size box that you need. Or you can click these corner boxes and they'll do the same thing. All right, then if you ever want to go back and then edit it, you won't get that message again. So now that we have chose a size that we would like, we can click on this layer, and then after that, right click and go to, actually, no. What we want to do is we want to go to File, go to New, and then we want to create a new size. Okay. So first off, let's see how big this is in inches. And to do that, we can just select our text tool, select it in the middle, highlight it, or we don't even have to highlight it. Let's come down here, go to inches, and this point is 0.503, which will be a little bit slightly over a half an inch. All right, so now let's come back to File, go to New, and let's select inches. And it was a little bit over half, so I like to multiply whatever size it is, at least bare minimum, by 2. Okay, so in our instance, I could make it 1 inch, or I can make it slightly bigger, which will be 1.5 inches. So I'm gonna just go ahead and use that and see how that looks. All right, 1.5 by 1.5. We want it to be a exact square. All right, that's the only way doing a watermark will work is if you make it an exact square, which will give us a diamond pattern, which you will see. So I come down the resolution, we can keep it at 300 RGB. Of course, leave it at RGB. We always design stuff in RGB mode, and then when we send it to our printer, it will print out in CMYK. But actual designing on your computer, you want to design as far as sublimation in RGB color mode. Fill width, make sure you have transparency selected. Precision, you can either use 8-bit or 32-bit floating point. If you have a higher end computer, you can select this one or this one. If you have a lower end computer, I just recommend selecting 8-bit integer. All right. So we'll select, in our case, we'll select 8-bit integer. I do have a computer that can handle 32-bit, but majority of people are working on a 8-bit. All right, so I have that selected. We don't have to change anything else in here. We can press OK. And also, if you want to create a template, you can do that as well. And everything that we just did with making this the correct size and transparency and all that, you can come right here and do that, which I have listed in another tutorial on how to do that. So from here, let's go back to our original picture. We can select this layer and just drag it up here and then drop it right here. There we go. So as you can see, this is actually smaller. Well, our wording is actually bigger than what we initially thought it was going to be. So in order to change that, well, in order to leave this the same size but make this background box to make it bigger, we'll just go select that background first, go to image, and go to canvas size. So now let's try, instead of 1.5 inches, let's try 3 inches. And then 3 inches, press enter. And then we can select center. Click resize, and there we go. Okay, so it fitted it a lot more, a lot better. Okay, and this is pretty much perfect. All right, and then background, we can make that bigger, make that yellow box bigger by going to layer instead. Go down to layer boundary size, and then we can make this 3 inches as well. So 3 inches by 3 inches. Press enter, press center, and press resize. Now make that yellow box the same size as our background, the same size as the area that we need. So now at this point, just come back to our Caps on Fire text layer, right click on it, and then go to duplicate layer. All right, you can either press right here and it will duplicate it, which I just did, and it duplicated it, or I can undo that, Control Z, and then come down to this box right here and press this, which will be pretty much a shortcut, and duplicate that layer. All right, so let's go to our first one, which is right here. We shall go to, click on it, go to, I'm sorry, having a brain freeze. Click on it and go to, where is it? Where is it? Here it is. Go to layer, go down to transform, and go down to offset. All right, we're gonna do by width 2 by height 2. So select that and then offset it, which no. Hold Control Z to undo that. So when you offset it, it's gonna offset it to the size of that yellow box. All right. So in order to make that yellow box as big as this background, which is what we need, we select Caps on Fire, right click on it, and then go to merge down. When you merge it down, it will merge that layer with that background layer, which now that yellow box expanded out to the all the way to the outside. So now once we do that, then we go to image, we go down to transform, go to go to layer. So go to layer, go down to transform, and then go down to offset. All right, and we're gonna offset it by width over 2 by height over 2. And as again, that's why we designed this as a perfect square, because when you press that, your top number and your bottom number have to be exactly the same. All right, so we select offset, and it will put our it will separate our text into the corners. Okay, so then after that, let's select our other layer, which is the layer that we duplicated for Caps on Fire. We'll right click that and we'll merge that layer down as well. So now this will be one layer with all your text on it. So from here, we can go back to go to filters, go down to map, and go down to tile. So on this one, let's say we just want to make it a super B size, which will probably be way bigger than what we are working with, but that's 100% fine. We'll go to inches, go to 13 inches wide. Select this button right here to unlink it by 19. And we're going to create a new image by doing this. And when we do this, it will show everything that we made here. It will be in what's called a seamless pattern. All right, so it'll be a pattern, but it'll be like a diagonal style pattern. We press OK. Then here it goes. Okay, so from here, we are going to go to File, go to Save. Actually, no, we'll wait for that. Let's go ahead and select our layer that we just created, drag it over here to our picture, and then drop it right here on top. And then the other layer that we had selected right here, the one that we made earlier, we can just go ahead and delete that layer. The background, copy, make it bigger, hold Control to zoom out. And let's say, for instance, we messed up. All right, we wanted to make it a little bit bigger. So come down here to pixels, switch that to inches so we can see how big our canvas actually is, which is 19.5 wide. But we'll just round it up to 20 by 13. Let's just do 14 by 20. So we'll come back here, we can get rid of this, discard changes, go back to this layer right here, which we already had made, go to filter, go to map, tile. Okay, so the width was going to be 20 inches, which we just said. 20 inches, the height would be 14 inches. Press OK, and we'll create our new image again. Now, let's delete this layer that we just made, the one we made earlier. Delete that watermark layer. Come back, drag and drop this background. There we go. So as you can see, it made that yellow box a little bit bigger, but that's 100% fine. I normally don't change it because everything that's on the outside of this, it will not show up when we go to export it. All right. So after that, that's pretty much everything. Okay. Let's say we want to reduce the opacity so they can get a better view of the image, but at the same time, they won't be able to take it or duplicate it without our watermark showing up. I think 63. I think that's fine. 62, 63 is fine. All right. So that is pretty much it. Okay. If you want more spacing in between your words and your watermark, whatever, you would have to change the size of this box. All right. And to do that, let's just hold Control Z to undo some stuff that we did. We can select our background again, go to image, go down to canvas size, and instead of 3, let's make it 4.5 for the width, 4.5 for the height. Center it again and click resize, and it'll make our box a little bit bigger. So we do the same thing. Go back to Caps on Fire, merge that down, and we need to make this yellow box bigger as well. So we'll go to Layer, go to Layer Boundary Size, and make that the same size we just typed in earlier, which is 4.5 by 4.5. And it will be in inches. Press center, resize, and now I made our yellow box the same size. After that, go to filters. Go to layer, go to transform, offset by width over 2, height over 2. Press that. The numbers are exactly the same, so we have a perfect square. Press offset, select Caps on Fire, merge that down, then go to filter, map again, tile, and as we did earlier, go down to inches. The width I believe we did was 20 inches wide. The height is 14, and press OK. And there we go. So now it gave us more space on the sides and from the top and bottom. And honestly, I like this one more than I like this. All right, because this one, it just seems, just bunched up too close for me. All right, so we can just exit out of this one, discard the changes on that one, and then we'll just keep this one. So we'll come back here, make sure our background layer is selected, press X to get rid of those watermarks. Click on this one and drag this layer over into this picture, and there you go. We can select the opacity for the layer to reduce the opacity or make it bigger. We'll leave it at about right there. Yeah, about 81.5. In between 80 to 85 is relatively nice for white shirts with the color image on top. If you're doing something that's gonna be like an all black design, then you can change your change it from black into white, and an easy way to do that is just right click on your watermark layer, go to alpha to selection, and then come over to your bucket fill tool, go to tool options. We're gonna fill it with our foreground color, select that, make it white, press OK, then click on the picture, click in there we have selected, and then go to select none, and then it turned it white. All right, so you can do it either way you want, and you can reduce the opacity or make it bigger or smaller depending on how you see fit. Okay, so I highly recommend in this one, I like this one better than the black, because that way it impedes on the design a lot more than the black. Okay, so they can't cover it up as easy. All right, so that is pretty much everything from there as far as making the watermark over your design. So from here, we'll go to File, and we will go to Export As. All right, so let's export it on our desktop as a Kendrick mockup dot whatever you want to do. Okay, so if you want to do a JPEG, you can do that. I like PNGs, so I'll do .png. All right, that will be a higher quality image. After that, we just press export. Compression level, leave it at 9. Then export it to our desktop. This file size is going to be relatively big because we have such a large image. I mean, it's 19.5 by like 13, which is really, really large. So now that is it. We have a watermark, our Kendrick watermark. Drag it over for you guys. And there it is. Okay. So now from here, I highly advise doing this since we went ahead and made this. All right. What I advise you do is to select your layer where your picture is at. Come down to this delete this layer key. Select delete this layer. After that, go to File, and then go to Save As. All right. And the reason we're doing this is because since we already made this file, let's say we want to drag and drop another picture in here and just go ahead and keep this watermark as well. So that way we don't have to do everything over from scratch. So let's call this our Etsy watermark mockup shirt. And we'll save it to the desktop as well, and it will save as an XCF file. Okay, so remember, file save to save the actual file that you're designing in, or go to file export to export a final copy of that image. All right, so we'll save it. Let's just exit out of this just to test it and discard those changes. Here it is, Etsy watermark mockup. Double click to open it up. And there you go. Okay, so let's say if I want to drag another image that I did in here. This is a recent one I did, and if you're in the Facebook group, I know you've seen this image because I put it on a shirt I did. Drag and drop our scratch from Ice Age, and then we'll click on our scale tool, click on our image, and we are in that layer. And then we can just scale it down to the size that we want. It's about right there. That's a nice size for scale. Then that's it. Okay, it added it in. So from there we go to File, go to Export As. Okay, and then you can export it as another image file. All right. So that wraps up everything for this tutorial. I want to appreciate everybody for tuning in to this tutorial. Yes, I know it was extremely long, but however, I like it sometimes to be long like this to give you all a thorough explanation of how to do something instead of trying to condense everything down into 5 minutes and be talking, extremely fast and trying to cram stuff in there. All right. So once again, I thank you all for tuning in. And as always, please press the subscribe button down below and also join our Facebook Sublimation group as well. All right. So I will see you all on the next video. All right, Angelo out.